What's going on? This your boy Chris Simmons coming to you with another podcast episode. And guys, I'm excited for this episode that I got for y'all today. I know this is going to be a very special episode. But before I get into the show, I just want to just take the time to just say, as always, that I'm blessed and highly favored to still be here in 2021. 2021 is looking like a great year so far. Many blessings and opportunities that definitely are in store for me this year, and I'm just looking forward to the path that God has for me. And I've really been doing a lot of great work, especially with this podcast. I've really been working on trying to innovate it, trying to have more people on, trying to have different perspectives on here. So I'm just really excited for the direction of this podcast. And I had some great guests on my previous episodes, and they really just shared some great insight and just really poured into the episode, about their journey and about how positivity is power. I mean, positivity, that's what we need, especially with everything that's going on right now. Like I told you guys, I don't really keep up with the news because I understand that every time you turn on the news, it is just negative. Every time you turn on the news, there's always somebody dying, always a new case, this and that. So I've just disconnected myself from that, and I just make it a priority to get up every single day and just work out and just go to work, because that's all I can control. I can control two things in this life: your attitude and your effort. That's really all you can control. I mean, you can't control everything else that's going on, but what you can control is that you get up and make the rest of your life the best of your life. So that's what I strive to do every single day, and also trying to make a difference in my community. I told you guys also that my motto for 2021 is making a difference. Whether it's I'm walking down the street, whether it's I'm at a grocery store, whether I'm in the gym, or whether I'm just in my community, my goal is to make a difference in somebody's life and to just be able to make an impact. And so, I'm just very excited, for all the things that I have in store for me in 2021. Just a little update. Um, I literally just got this not too long ago. Heard that one of my roommates might come down with the coronavirus. So I don't know what that's going to look like for me, but I'm hoping that he doesn't test positive, so I can be free to move around and basically be free to do what I need to do. So just keep me in your prayer, man. I just got the news like literally like 30 minutes ago, but I'm praying that he's doing well. I'm praying that he will be able to recover, or hopefully it's just a cold. I mean, he said he's feeling stuff, but hopefully it's just a cold. But we'll see the test results tomorrow. We'll be able to hear back. But hey, it's gonna happen. I figured it was going to happen at some point. I was just praying that it wouldn't happen, but God's still in control. God is still good all the time, and all the time God is good. So I'm not going to really worry about that too much. I just thought I'd just give y'all a heads up because that was probably the most recent thing that just happened. But I'm okay. But I'm doing all right. I feel fine personally. So I'm just gonna continue to keep moving forward. Okay, that's all I can do. But before I get into today's show, I just want to just also remind you guys that we are on Instagram. If you check us out, if you want to check us out on Instagram, our Instagram is at disinfecting your life, no spaces, no capitals. Once again, that's at disinfecting your life, no spaces, no capitals. And you can get all our updates to our new episodes. And you can also click the link in our bio, which will have all our social media platforms on there. I know we are also currently active on YouTube, where we have a few videos up right now from our most recent podcast. So if you want to check us out on YouTube, is also Disinfecting Your Life, and type that in on YouTube, you'll be able to find us. But if you want to eat an easier route to get there, just follow us on Instagram, and all the information will be on there, as well as to our merch that we are also selling with the t-shirts. I got mine on right now. If I'm gonna hold it up here, it's called Step Towards Your Purpose, because that's what we're doing in 2021. We are stepping toward our purpose. We ain't stepping back. That's why I got the stair. I don't know if you can see the stairs. That's why I put the stair on it, because you got to take steps each and every day to your purpose. And that's what I'm doing. Even if it's just little steps, as long as you're moving forward, right? That's all that matters. As long as you're making progress to wherever it is you want to be, you're going to get to the top. You just got to be patient and trust the process. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I got going on eBay. If you want to check it on eBay, type in Chris's motivational gear. I got shirts, hoodies, and masks. So if you want to get you some, they're on sale. So, like I said, you could wear it in the gym. Hopefully y'all still in the gym. I know it's February, so I know a lot of people have fell off, but hopefully y'all still doing the workout. You can rock this in the gym, or if you want to rock it just out in public. If you want to represent, show everybody that what you doing, what you got going on in 2021. Hey, I'm all for it. So hey, if you like the shirt, if you're interested, go ahead, go to our Instagram. The link is in the bio, or you can go on eBay and check it out. But that's enough of that, because I really, really want to get into today's episode. I'm excited for who I have on today. And I also met her on Instagram, like I said, because I'm at the point where I like to reach out to people. I'm not shy, because I always like to be able to see what other people are doing, and just reach out to people who are doing similar stuff. And I was fortunate enough to come across her page. I kind of scrolled through a little bit, and I was like, man, like I saw all these posts of different quotes, and just her just doing stuff in her community, and I was just very excited. So I reached out to her. I didn't know what type of response I was going to get, but I was glad that she loved the idea. She loved the idea to come on the podcast. So I was very hyped that she agreed to do this today. And I'm telling you guys, this girl is just a pocket of sunshine, like it says in her bio. She just lights up your world in a positive way. And I'm just very excited to hear what she has to say, and just have her explain all the type of work that she does and the difference that she's making in her community. But without further ado, let me introduce y'all to Miss Raven. How you doing today, girl? What's good?
Hi.
What's good?
Hi, everyone. I just want to say I'm so honored to be on here, Disinfecting Your Life podcast. I'm loving it. And honestly, your your intro is so funny.
Yeah.
I love it though. I love it though. Yeah, pocket of sunshine. That's what I that's what
Yep.
I tell everybody I am.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Where you calling from?
okay, so I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana. More recently from Dallas, and now I'm actually with my job. I'm in Kansas City, Missouri. So it's a lot of traveling, but I kind of go back and forth between Dallas and Kansas City right now. But my operations, all of the things with the making of Raven, are out of Dallas, Texas.
Okay. Well, there we
Yeah.
go. I mean, I think, doesn't Texas get a lot of sun too? Or
The,
or
what
what's
what
the
gets a
weather
lot of
like
sun?
in Texas? I said, what's the weather like in Texas? Don't y'all get
Oh,
a lot of
see,
sun down there
okay,
too?
see, we get a lot of sun down in
Right.
Texas.
So
A
there's a nickname
lot
for
of
you right
sun.
there.
That's all the sunshine. That's
Yep.
where it all comes from. It's the New Orleans and the Dallas coming together. Right now, though, in Kansas City, look, it's straight up in the middle of like snowpocalypse. So we ain't getting no sun at the moment. But in general, we're a little bit more on the sunny side.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it sounds like with Cleveland, like we barely see any sun. Like I'm fortunate enough to see the sun today, because really last night it just snowed like 4 inches. I'm just like,
Oh
where is all this snow
no.
coming from?
Yeah.
But we get the lake effect. So we're up here by the lake, so
Okay.
we just get
Okay.
snow like at random times, and and it's a cold vibe up here. I mean, people should be used to it by now, but I
hmm
feel like with the cold weather, it plays an effect on the mood.
It really does. It really does. People start struggling. That's why you like I always say, and even on my page, I always say, like you gotta be the sunshine in your life. You gotta bring the sunshine. So even if you live in a place that's cloudy every day, if you're not bringing the sunshine, then you're just gonna be affected by everything around you versus you actually affecting it. And so that's why I used to tell myself I would never move to Kansas City, never move to anywhere in the Midwest or up, because to me that was always colder, like grayer weather, especially in the west, midwest, northwest area. And look at God, now I'm here. Happened to
Hey,
show up
hey, look,
to
you
my
found your destination. God put you in a
Mhm.
spot where you can, make the most impact. I think that's the most important thing, is like
Yeah,
you gotta embrace where you called to be. Sometimes it
right.
may not, be where you wanted to be, but
hmm
on the subject of, talking about God, that's where God sometimes will put us in a situation where it may not make sense in our mind, but it makes sense to
right,
him, and that's where we can make the most impact.
right,
So that's
right.
good. I mean, I'm glad that you found a place where you can be comfortable, and you can, do the type of work that you do. Now, I
hmm
mean, I see that you got the social media page, and I see you got about 18,000 followers. I mean,
uh-huh.
that's a whole lot. I mean, so you must be doing something. You must be having a connection with somebody, or just with something that you're doing it has to have people
Listen.
gravitating towards your page. So, why don't
Uh-huh.
you kind of actually just first of all, just start out with your journey. Just start out like how, you were able to get to that level on your Instagram, and just basically give us a story. Just basically tell us like, what was your dream or envision doing this type of work? What was it like, before you got to this point, um, along your journey with the Instagram and the whole, you know, motivation
Yeah, for
that
sure.
you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I started off, I actually worked with an online magazine. Um it was kind of like it was from AOL. It was kind of like a Teen Vogue slash BuzzFeed. I don't know if you know any of those, but it was like that. And I used to write articles for them in college. And then they got taken over by Huffington Post. And then so I ended up losing my dream. Like, it was like my dream job. And I just thought, this is what I'm supposed to do. God, I love writing. I'm touching young girls' lives. Like, this is what I want to do. And then they got taken over by the AOL. It was called Cambio Online Magazine. And it got taken over by Huffington Post. And so then I lost that job and I was devastated. And so then I was on my Instagram page, just having just doing what I normally do, what normal people do, just posting pictures to post pictures. And then it was one of those, and this is just the real story. I know I'm like mentioning God a lot, but he has really been like so essential in my growth. And there was one night I remember where he was like, you say I'm God over your life, but you're not making me God over your social media as well. And I was like, I know that you would want to be a part of my social media. So basically, um, he basically was like, and we had this like prayer. I had this prayer and I had this conversation with God. And I felt like I needed to dedicate every part of my life, including my social media, to God. And so I just kind of made that vow that night. And then the next morning, it went from I had about 400 that night when I fell asleep. And when I woke up the next morning, I had about 3,000 followers overnight. In one night. In one night.
Praise God.
And
You put your
it
hands
was
on
insane.
you
It's an
laid
insane
hands on the
story.
couch. You laid hands on you.
Listen.
Saw people laying hands on people at church.
I'm in it. But yeah, so it was crazy because it was just like a story of God's faithfulness. But one of my old editors had reposted one of my old articles, and the article was like, it was a Frozen thing. I was like, why we need to be like Elsa and let things go, or something like that. I can't remember exactly the title, but we began to say it, I began to, or she reposted that. And then and overnight I had all of these people from Huffington Post reading that article, and she had tagged me in it. And they're coming straight to my page and they're following my page. And so then after that, that's when I started to be like, okay, no, this is serious. Like, it's not just me posting pictures for my cousins to see. This is something that, like, there's 3,000 people following me now. I have to steward these people. I have to actually, like, I'm responsible for what I'm putting in front of these people. And so, so then, yeah, after that, I began to be intentional about what I posted, not just pictures, but also captions. Like, I knew I wanted this to be, even if it's a little small corner of the internet, I wanted it to be light. I wanted it to be positivity. I wanted it to be actually inspiring and helpful to people, not just, oh, that's a pretty picture, but helpful to people. And so, and I didn't know what that looked like because I didn't know anything about social media marketing. I knew nothing about social media influencing because technically I'm a social media influencer and I didn't know how to be that, or that was a profession. And so, yeah, so I started to be more intentional about what I posted. And I think, and this is what I always tell my clients, I think the reason that people are attracted to it is because, one, it's real, but two, it's me, in the sense of it's a person. I'm not putting myself out there as, I'm a brand, but I'm also a person. And I think because I'm so real, in the sense of people come to my page and they don't see something different than they would see when they meet me, it's real. And I'm super vulnerable. I let people know when things are bad, that kind of thing. I think that attracts people because they're like, oh, this is a real person that I could have a conversation with, that I could, that would pray for me, that would support me in different things. And so I think that that's one of the main reasons that people stay. They'll come to the page, but then they'll stay here. I think because they feel like this is a safe, small place on the internet that I can go and be encouraged and be supported and be prayed for, and know that this girl, this little Cajun girl from the corner of somewhere, is actually got my back, you know?
Yeah, that's great. I love that story about how, you know, you were able to just blow up and you didn't do it. And obviously, you know that you didn't do it by yourself. Like you had the grace of God over your life to help you realize that, hey, like I can make this into something big. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and I love, and see, this is why I got back on Instagram. So how I got back on Instagram was, you know, my friend told me that I should promote this podcast.
Mm.
And at first I'm just like, because I didn't have Instagram for a while. I deleted it because I
Yeah.
was just, you know, tired of, you know, just seeing people try to envy others, trying to, you know, make others jealous,
Right.
you know,
Right.
just trying to talk down on people, like
Right.
making them feel insecure. And so that's why I just got rid of it. Like in
Mm-hmm.
2019, I was like, I'm done. Like I'm not doing this.
Mm-hmm.
My friend who works with me now, who helped me, you know, with the marketing aspect of the podcast, he told me, he said, look, like you need to get back on social media. You need to, you know, be able to promote this and use this
Mm-hmm.
as something good.
Yeah.
Like he was trying to tell me that social media is not always bad. And so
Yeah.
I got on, and now, you know, and I think that it all depends on who you follow, which is
Mm-hmm.
what I've also learned. Because I
Mm-hmm.
follow a lot of, you know, positive pages. I follow a lot of positive daily quotes and just people who are trying to motivate others. And so
Yeah.
every time I go
Yeah.
on there now, I see, you know, on pages like yours, or just, you know, any other page like that that's similar to yours, that's trying to encourage others. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's what we need on social media versus trying to post a pic and be like, oh, look at me, I'm all this.
Right. Right.
Like,
Right.
I feel
Yeah.
like, oh yeah,
If there's no purpose behind it,
right,
like, and that purpose, the purpose should not be, oh, just look at me, because that people know when you're posting for you, or just for people to look at you. Sometimes people will stay, but there's no substance behind it. And that's why people leave social media, because they don't see the fact that it's a tool that you can actually bring light into someone else's life, whereas they are only seeing it's only draining them, because they're just seeing all these pictures of people on vacation and people in their swimsuits and people da, 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 da. This girl, she's balling and making, and she's a billionaire, but she's not helping anybody. She's just showing pictures of her on a car. Like, that doesn't actually benefit or bring light into the world in any sort of way. It's just you showing you. And that's why people leave social media. That's why people get depressed scrolling through their news feed. It's why suicide is at an all-time high, because people are comparing and doing all the things, instead of allowing this tool, is a great tool, to actually do what it was meant to do. Like Instagram was meant, and social media in general, it's a connection, a networking. It's supposed to connect people,
right. And
right?
that's
Like, not bring division.
exactly, and that's what I, you know, most definitely see on the page. And I also see that in your bio, you mentioned that you're a motivational mental coach.
Mm-hmm.
Do you just do that all on social media, or do you, you know, have people that you talk to in person? Do you have like
Mm-hmm.
groups, you know, people that you mentor in your community? Like just kind of, you know, elaborate on the stuff that you do like in the community
Yeah.
outside the Instagram page.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So I offer, and I have a couple people that I have, because where I am right now, I'm actually on a base with a bunch of young people, like a campus with a bunch of young people. So I have a couple people that I mentor here, but then I also have some young women who've reached out to me specifically, even over my social media, for just motivation. So I wouldn't even call it a life coach. It's more knowing that somebody has your back, that is praying with you, that is walking with you, that is not afraid to say, sis, that's not the right thought. That's not the way that we need. That's going to hinder you from moving forward. This right here, when you say this flippantly about yourself, that's actually hindering you from moving forward in what you're trying to do. Let's actually, how can we shift how we think about this? For instance, if there's a problem, because I work with a lot of like business entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, and it's like, okay, well, I see this woman, comparing, for instance, comparison. I see this one who's doing this so much better. And instead of being like, I'll never be that person, how about we think about what is she doing that is working? How can I implement that into my life without copying her or trying to be her, but how can I implement that into my strategy? And so I try to bring, and it doesn't even have to be business wise, even some of them are not business entrepreneurs, but even in your life, how can you look at where God has you in the journey that God has you and still be content every day, still be present every day, and live the fullness of today versus living the fullness, oh, once I get to where I want to be, then I'm going to be living my best life. No, you can live your best life right now, even in the journey. And so, yeah, I help a lot of people, especially young women of color. Those are usually the ones that kind of reach out to me. And so I have a couple, a handful that I specifically do like 1 hour calls, 90-minute calls, from different nations. I have one from Canada actually that I speak into. And so it's just kind of from everywhere, and one from Australia that I speak into. And so, yeah, it's just from everywhere around the world, especially young women who need that support, like a sister support. Hey, I got you, you know?
That's awesome. I love people who are taking initiative in the community to, help others.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very simple. It's a very simple thing.
Mm-hmm.
People like try to make it as, oh, I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do that.
Yeah,
But
you do.
you have, if you on
Yeah,
Instagram, if you looking at other people on Instagram, right, you gonna
you've got
see
time.
that saying you got time. Like that kills when
Mm-hmm.
people say, I don't have time to go do this today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's
You're like,
like,
you definitely have the time because
you
clearly
know,
you've been scrolling for 30 minutes on your social media.
the time you spend scrolling is the time that you're wasting that can
Right.
be spent doing something to help better yourself.
Right.
And I love that
Investing in yourself or investing in others.
for real.
You like you're that time, because you're not, then at that point you're not losing the time, you're actually living and using the time that God has given you, stewarding it well. I'm all about, like, and I think you'll see in a lot of my posts and different things that I do on my website, like it's all about efficiency. And that's what I always, even my clients who try to come to me for business consulting, it's all about recognizing what you have in your hands right now and using that and stewarding that to the best of your ability. How can I actually, if I only have, and if I'm trying to be a seamstress and I only have markers and crayons, how can I use this that I have in my hands to get to that point? What can I do now with what I have? And I honestly, I think your podcast is a perfect example. Like, this is what you have. You're using what you have to spread more light into the world and to invest in other people and investing in yourself, which is so cool.
Yeah, and I just also love the direction that you went into now as you mentioned it, because
Mm,
sometimes when you're starting out just trying to do something, you can't just sit back and wait for opportunities to come your way.
right.
That's what I've realized, starting this, you know, podcast to be able to
Mm,
promote and have people on is I'm coming to them. Like
yeah.
I'm coming to you. Like you can't, as someone who's trying to make something happen, you can't sit back and wait for people to be like, okay, well, I'm waiting for
Right.
this person to come here. I'm waiting, to get this resource, I'm waiting to
Hmm.
get this and that. It's like, no, you have to make it happen. You have to
Exactly.
go out and get it. Right.
Yeah.
And understand that for me, that's where I'm at. I'm like, okay, who can I find on here to bring
Hmm.
on to get on this podcast and to be able to spread light? And that's what I do. And sometimes, you're not
Yeah.
everybody that's going to want to do what you want to do. And that's
Right. Right.
the ones who do, that's where you focus in on it and
Hmm.
be like, okay, let me work with this person. Let me see what this person has to offer. If
Exactly.
they're supportive of your vision,
Yeah.
Focus on them versus the no versus the million no's, you know what I'm saying? Versus like,
Exactly. Because you're gonna get no's. And
exactly.
you're gonna get people, and not everyone is for you. Not everyone is going to say yes. Not everyone's gonna like what you do. Not and I think we, especially right now, we're all so sensitive
Mhm.
that we get one rejection or one no, and we just, oh well, this dream wasn't it, or this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be doing something. No, if this is what you feel like you're supposed to be doing, you keep going.
For
You
real.
keep going, for sure. And not just that, like you're even saying with the fact with this podcast, how you're going out there and doing, you have access already. I think so many of us are waiting to know more. I need to get more knowledge about it. I need to learn. I need to take more courses. I need to da da da. Da. And yes, you want to do that. You want to keep adding it to yourself, but start with what you got now. Like for instance, with you, you have had access to me. You had access to other influencers and other people that you wanted to bring, guests that you wanted to bring onto the show. You had access to that and you used it by messaging. This is what I have in my hands. This is what I can do right now. Let me do this and see where that goes.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. And
Yeah.
it's also great, you know, once you get a momentum going, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Mhm.
And
It feels good.
but then I realized, right, and I think I mentioned this last time on the podcast, is that this life is a marathon. Okay. You know, when you get a burst of speed, right, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So
Mhm.
sometimes you're gonna hit a wall. You're gonna face challenges along your
Right.
journey.
Right.
And you're gonna have, and that's where champion, that's where I've always heard, you know, when I play sports coming up, that champions are made when times get tough.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because everybody can celebrate when everything is going good, but along your journey, you're going to face difficult times.
Mhm.
People are not going to like what you're doing. People are going to say no to what you're doing.
Right.
It's going to make you want to give up.
Right.
And so for me, I want I want to ask you, Raven, like,
Mhm.
what has been, you know, the most challenging circumstance that you've had to face in your journey,
Mhm. Mhm.
and how have you been able to overcome that to get to where you are now?
Yeah. Um okay, so career wise, if I'm looking at it career wise, I would definitely say like when I lost that job from AOL, that was a huge one because I thought, oh, my dream job, it's over. But of course God has something different and better. But I would say even when it comes to emotionally and even what I do now, I would say the hardest thing for me was um and it wasn't just one big thing. It was like like little things every day. When you're putting in the work, like you're talking about, and you're doing implementing the things that you learned, and you're trying, and you're just, and nothing seems to change. There was a point where I was at a certain number of followers, and I was at a certain number of engagement, and all of these things with my business and with my social media, and nothing was changing. I was trying new things, I was implementing new things, but nothing, I saw no results for months. And then right around that time, this was 2019 into 2020. So it was very recent, almost it was really recent, but it was the fact that different things were happening with like the George Floyd, different things like that were happening in the Black community. And it was so hard for me. I have people looking to me, asking me, DMing me, asking me what you think about the situation, what do you think about all of that. And I was at a point where I was so overwhelmed that I was like, I don't know, I can't say anything. I don't know what to say. I have nothing to say. And so that was so hard for me. I feel like you get so weary in doing when you don't see result. Like you can go for so long, for a while, and be like, I don't need to see results. It's fine. I know that I'm planting seeds. But when you don't see results for a long time from what you're doing, you start, okay, am I supposed to even be doing this? What am I doing? And I think the hardest thing for me was when I didn't know my why. Like I forgot why I was doing it. And so then I really had to take a step back from my social media, from my even my business, and sit back and with God go, okay, why am I doing this again? And I had to clearly, and this is what I tell clients, and this is what I tell even those that coach, the mental motivation coach thing. I tell them both, you need to know your why. You got to have it written down. You got to have it something that you can speak out. This is my, like, and not just a mission statement for your business, but kind of like this, that, where this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. So when you have your why, you can hold on to that in the middle of storms or not understanding what's happening, or when you're overwhelmed, or when you have a why. Okay, you know what? I don't have to see results. I know why I'm doing this. This is not so that I can get more followers. This is not so that I can get more engagement. I'm doing this to help people. This is my why. So even if I'm helping one person, it's worth it. I'm doing this because I'm helping. And so that helped sustain me during that time. Like, this doesn't have to be in front of a million people. If one person like is inspired and their life is changed from one post, good, I did my job. This is why I'm here, And so that's I would say that's the thing that I hold on to. Obviously God, but remembering my why throughout it all actually helps keep me focused and keep going and purposeful and intentional in what I'm doing, even when everything around me is crazy.
I love that point when you said find your why. I always emphasize that you have a strong why is going to keep you going, despite of what the stats look like. And when you're talking about your Instagram, how you were posting stuff, you were trying to do this with it, you were trying to change it up, and how it's still not working, but you still kept going in spite of, okay, the scoreboard doesn't look how I want it. It's not playing in my favor, but I'm still going to do this because I have been called to do it. And that's what a lot of people, don't. That's why a lot of people give up when they get to when they're about to get to the destination, is because stuff is not happening right away. And, and in this field, as being a motivational mentor, coach, mentor, or whatever, when you first start out, and I've learned this, it's tough to get people to gravitate toward what you're saying, because sometimes when you're new, people don't really know you like that. So you have to continue to be consistent. And I've learned that as well. Like, the more consistent you are, you're gonna eventually see the results that you're looking for. It's all about that consistency. To keep going, even when it may not look like anything is happening. That's why there's challenges. That's why there's challenges designed to see, okay, are you built for this? Are you built for this, or are you not? Because if everything just happened just like that, everything just happened with a snap of the finger, everybody would, be comfortable doing what they're doing.
Right. And everyone would be billionaires. If things could just happen with a snap, one would be, everyone would be, so there would be nothing that's special, and nothing that, hey man, there would be no testimonies. There would be no, like, man, I walked through this, I survived through this. There's a bonding even when you're with your tribe around you and the people that God has placed in your life. Like, you don't get that bonding and that closeness that happens when you're going through trials, if there's no trials. Everything's shallow, everything's comfortable, everybody's living their best lives.
Exactly. You got to embrace the struggle. Embrace the struggle, because that's you got to make that the fun part. See, the fun part is where you start grinding. See, sometimes when people get to the top, they end up chilling. They forget, oh, I had to do X, Y, and Z to get to this place. They get comfortable. You gotta embrace being uncomfortable. You gotta be comfortable being uncomfortable. Like, a lot of people say you gotta be comfortable being uncomfortable, because it's true. Because that's what's gonna happen. A lot of people want to have like that soft space, like, oh, like, I want to be able to feel good all the time. No, that's not life. That's not real life. You can't live this life without suffering. And sometimes the lesson is in the suffering. See, sometimes you find out stuff about yourself that you didn't know. Because back when I tore my, Achilles, it taught me a lot of different lessons about myself. this podcast, the stuff that I'm doing with this podcast, would have never happened if I didn't go through that, because I would have never took the time to sit back and be like, man, like I can be doing something with this time, or man,
Exactly.
out and share my story with, instead of sitting around being sorry for myself, I can go out and create a podcast and basically share, about some motivation that I've had along the way, and some, lessons that I've learned along the way. And sometimes God will put you through things that you don't like, but it's for a purpose. Everything's for a purpose, just like in Romans 8:28. For we all know that everything works for a purpose, right? So
Yeah.
that's just the life we live. But but it's not built for the weak. It's built for the strong. Only the
Hmm.
strong survive,
Mm.
right?
Yeah. 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 That's so real. That's so real. And it shows you, honestly, I think strength and character comes through that fire, comes through that storm. You either allow, and that's, I think I did a post about this a couple days ago, but you allow those storms to refine you and to make you stronger, or you don't. You either learn from it and it's a lesson, or it's just a loss. And so it's like, where you're talking about strength the character, I think that that's built in trials. I think that that's built in storms. I think that no one wakes up when they're born, or like after their first day being on this earth, and go, oh, I'm strong, I got strength of character, and this person doesn't. No, you gain strength of character as you're going through things, and you allow it either to shape you and mold you and add to you, or you allow it to take from you. And so, and that's everything. That's spiritually, professionally, relationally, like whatever it is, storm you're going through, you're either allowing it to add to you, or you're allowing it to take away from you. And so that would be, that's my encouragement for people who are maybe struggling through storms or through things of like frustration or wherever. No, allow it to actually add, like choose to have it add to you. How is this going to add to me? I'm not going to let this steal something from me, steal joy from me, steal my personality, my character. I'm going to let this mold and add to my character, so that if I go through something worse later on, I already got the character to withstand whatever is happening
Yeah.
established in me. And
Yep.
that you need to have that as like a business major. Need to have that as a person in your relational life, like every part of you. But for me, I mostly, because I mostly work with businesses or with individuals, creative businesses, influencers, those type of things. That's where my mind goes, okay, how do we in the journey allow that journey to shape us and mold us, or how do we do that, and like how do we practically do that, and how do we not allow it to take away from us?
Yes. Amen. Hey, preach to us, man. Preach to us, sister. Preach. That's what we need to hear, because we need that type of encouragement to keep us going. And when you get to the destination, it can be one of the most rewarding experiences. And as I'm looking at with the stuff that you do, I see that you have a book. You have a
I
book that
do.
you have your own book. So you created a book.
Uh-huh.
It says ebook, so it's an
Uh-huh.
online.
It's
So
an online book.
so
Yep.
talk about the book. Like, what's the book about?
Okay, so the book is exactly what I'm talking about. I've been talking about so far is finding, it's called Finding Joy in the Making. And that's just, honestly, it's not even about finding joy in the making. It's about recognizing that joy is there and choosing joy while you're still in the journey. And what does God say about that? Like, he's giving you everything you need to be joyful right here, right now. I think so many of us have this like destination syndrome, like you're talking about, where, oh, I'll be happy when I get there. Oh, I'll be fulfilled when I'm making millions of dollars, or when I'm married, or when I'm da 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 da. And there's just like this idea that once you get to a certain season in your life, then you're gonna have joy. And that's not why we were created, or how we're supposed to live. We're supposed to live fulfilled every day on the journey. And so my book it's a devotional. It's a 12-month devotional. It's not a daily devotional, because I was like, let's be real, people will probably get 3 or 4 days in and then put it on the shelf and not pick it up. So It's a 12-month devotional that basically is like, okay, what does the Bible say about this? About finding and keeping your joy in the journey. What does the Bible say about your future? And just encouragement every month to because as we go throughout, especially 2020 was hard. It was hard. It's just a hard year. It's just and January of 2021 is still kind of hard for people. So
I mean,
we
mine's happening in March, so I mean,
bruh.
I thought 2020 going into it, I had a great start for real. Like I was, man, I'm going places. Like I was getting promotions at my job. You know,
All excited.
You know, it just looked like it was going to be a great year, and then all of a sudden, man, you tear your Achilles, man, quarantine, go home, man, you gonna meet a cat 2 months. I was like,
right.
It just felt like dominoes, like everything going down. I'm
everything
like,
that could go wrong. Yeah.
I was like, I'm supposed to be somewhere, you know, doing this internship, and now I can't do it because it's virtual.
Yeah. And that was, I feel like that was a lot of people in the sense of everybody started off 2020 gonna be my year, like 2020 vision, we going up. 2020 vision, we going places. And it was like and then I began to think about like, okay, how do I keep joy when that happens? Like when what I expected is not what it's looking like when I had all these dreams and plans and purpose and all these things. And it just brought me back to that verse where it says like man plans things, but God directs his steps. Like we can plan, we can come up with all the plans, we can come up with the vision boards, but when it doesn't happen, or it doesn't happen as quickly as we think it's going to go, or the way that we think it's going to go, how do we then maintain not just joy in like the bubbly sense, but joy in the grounded sense? How do I stand and not be shaken as a person, and in what I feel like God is calling me to do, in the midst of that kind of disappointment, in the midst of that kind of pain, in the midst of that kind of like, and that hurts, you know, like how do I stay joyful in that? And so that's where the book kind of was birthed out of, is like, okay, how do we, because every year there's going to be things that we have expectation. This year is going to be my year. I made a joke about that at one point, and one of my posts was like, every year I say it's going to be my year. Every year. This is going to be my year. And then it never goes the way that I think it's going to go. How do I then maintain joy in that? And so that's where that book was birthed out of. And it's a quick, like I said, it's a 12-month devotional. So it also, and then it's interactive. So there's places where you can write like, okay, this is what I'm getting out of this month. This is what I want to declare into this month. This is what I feel like God is saying to me in this month. All of the things about maintaining that joy so that you have something to actually hold on to for the whole month, every month of the year. And it's something that every year you can go back around and do it all over again to just remind yourself like this. There's just reminders that I think we all need, and I knew I needed. So I kind of wrote the book for me, and then I just shared it with people.
Now, can I now, if I was like listening to this podcast and I was like, man, that sounds like a good book. Now, is it available? Like, is it available for free? Like, you know, about the like what's that like? Where can I get the book at?
Okay, so you can get the book. The book it's not free, unfortunately. It's $12.99, but because it's $12.99 because it's an interactive ebook. So you go to my page, you can either get to access it from my Instagram on my little link in my bio at The Making of Raven, or you can just go to the website themakingofraven.com. Okay. And right there, you'll get a little pop-up. It's on the home screen right there, Finding Joy in the Making, and it's $12.99. Like I said, it's an interactive ebook, so you'll be typing in it and adding things to it and all of that. So, and then the book itself will be coming out in the next couple months. I'm kind of teasing it to you guys. The actual physical book will be coming out probably more in the summer of 2021. So.
Okay. Hey, I might check it out myself. That's one of my things going into this year is I definitely want to be able to enhance more knowledge into reading books. I want to be able to
Yeah. Yeah.
read books. I actually finished one book earlier. Like I started it a little late last year in December.
Okay.
So I got the book for Christmas. It's called Financially Empowered.
Come
Um,
on.
Achieving Success Through Sacrifice. And it was written by one of my neighbors who we know. It's a black guy. And
Okay.
so we know me and my family, we know their family really well. And my parents gave that to me for Christmas. And I was like, man, this is like stuff that we need to like actually like learn. Some of this stuff in
Yeah.
school they teaching us, how to, do derivatives and sine, cosine. Like, nah, like when are we ever gonna learn? When are we ever gonna use that stuff? We need to be using some financial knowledge. And so, when I read the book, I was already into it. Like I was hooked from the first page because it gives a lot of lessons about basically saving your money and investing. Like we was talking about
Come
saving it.
on.
You know what I'm saying? 'Cause a lot of
Yeah.
people don't do that. A lot of people just spend money, and they
Yeah.
don't have any money left for them, for themselves or for their future kids or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
That's real.
and that's the type of education we need. Just learning how
Hmm.
to save, invest in our future because it's
Yeah.
important. Because nobody else gonna do it for us. We gotta do it for ourselves. For real, for real.
That's real. You got me snapping over here.
I'm
Got me
saying
snapping over here.
this stuff is fire. I'm telling you, this stuff is fire. You got snapping fingers,
Hey, hey.
do the spread. You can do it all by. See, look, listen,
Uh-huh.
this is fire. Like, go ahead, give it up.
That's funny.
But nah, before we wrap up the show, though, I just want to just ask you these last two questions. I always ask my guests these two questions. I'm just interested to know what are you hoping to accomplish here in 2021 that you haven't accomplished yet?
Mm. Well, that's a good question. Honestly, I mean, I could tell you, I have goals, I have financial goals and stuff like that. Like I've set financial goals, and I've been very vulnerable on my page about that. But honestly, my main goal this year is that I want to get in front of as many people as I possibly can to encourage. Because I honestly like the reason that I wrote that book, The Finding Joy, is because I not just for me, but also because I saw that people needed joy, and like depression is going so high and all these things. So I want to get this out to as many people as possible to help as many people as I possibly can. I do have, obviously I have like number goals and different things like that, but my goal is really not to just build wealth for myself so I can build up a nice little nest egg, but to really be able to help as many people as I possibly can. And so, yeah, a lot of my like hitting followers goals, like I think 2 months ago I was at like 15K, and now I'm at 18 in like a month and a half. Engagement goals, a lot more people are commenting. So all of those things God is already doing. And even financially, all of those things God is already doing. The main big goal is to get as many, my book and all of the things that God has placed in me, even these posts and different things like that, to as many people as possible, to be able to help as many people as possible. And not just for 2021, 2022 and on, for sure.
Yeah, I think that aligns with my goals. Talking about just opening up the show, talking about making a difference, and
Yeah.
well, so that a lot of those goals are definitely in line with my goals too,
Mm.
um, and then one other thing I want to ask you, since we are in the month of February,
Mm-hmm.
so that the focus tends to be on Black History Month. Now I understand that a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people just want to celebrate it for 1 month. They think that you
Mm-hmm.
can only talk about it in February, but I really
Right.
think Black History Month is year round,
Yeah.
especially with right. I mean, come
That's
on,
real.
you can
Yeah.
talk about it anytime. So I just want to kind of just get your quick take on what does Black History Month mean to you, like
Mm-hmm.
just your importance of it and why you feel like
Yeah.
it's more recognized.
Yes. Well, Black History Month in general, and that's why I've actually I do every February. Include I started really last February, but I've been doing these Black History Month facts on reels and TikToks and different things, to try to get people to start thinking about Black history in a different way. Because I agree, I don't believe that Black history, I love it and I celebrate it. I don't talk down on it, because we need any reason to celebrate the rich history that Black people have. And so I think that Black History Month is super special. I love it. I love that people start actually appreciating and honoring all that the Black culture has brought to the table. And so yeah, I love Black History Month. I do think that it shouldn't just be a month. I think that there should be an ongoing conversation, especially during this time, with the way that the atmosphere in our nation. We need to begin to, especially with all of the things that come, that is coming against the Black culture and the Black race. I do believe that there should be a celebration and an understanding of, I believe that a lot of the ignorance is because people are ignorant. People don't know. They don't know the richness that our race has brought. They don't know the richness in our culture. They don't know. They know Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks, and that's it. And those are amazing humans. But if you don't know that a lot of the amazing history, and I'm not just talking about protests and marches, which are amazing, I'm talking about the contributions that Black people have made for years to this nation and to the world. And I believe that it should be an ongoing conversation of, okay, how do we get the same momentum that we get in February to all the other months of the year? So
Right.
that people can learn. Because I don't fault people. A lot of times I don't fault people for being ignorant, because they're ignorant. They don't know. You know, I would much rather you ask questions and learn and have an understanding. And then if you still want to be act ignorant out of that, then that's your choice. But I'd much rather you keep asking questions and learning, you know?
Oh, and for
Yeah.
me, to get my quick take, I think it's just a month for me to just reflect on where I'm at in my life as an African American male and the
Mm-hmm.
opportunities that I have to go to a public university,
Mm-hmm.
um, and just be able to get the type of education that I'm getting, and to be able to do some of the, be able to just go out and do things that back then I probably would have got shot, or I probably would have got lynched. You know what I'm saying? Just like the fact that I get to sit on a bus,
Yeah.
I have to get up and
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that. And also
Mm-hmm.
going to a restaurant and I can sit where I want to sit,
Right.
or I can drink water,
Right. Yeah.
any type of water I want to drink, or I can just walk down the street and not get, shot or lynched.
Come on. Come
Um,
on.
and that's just the type of things that I think of. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just grateful to get up every morning and I have the freedom to be able to do a lot of things that some countries don't allow people to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing how in America now you have freedom to be able to have a dream and pursue
Yeah.
it. Because some countries, they it's dictatorship. They don't allow you to do that. So here in America, I know we got a bunch of problems here, and especially for African Americans and minorities that come here. But I just I'm thankful for the opportunity that I get now, because of people like Martin Luther King who stood up and said, "I have a dream that one day we gonna come together and stop all this nonsense." You know what I'm saying? So it's just been a blessing that now that the people before us took that sacrifice. Now they made the way much easier. Now, I'm not saying that there's still not any difficulties or challenges or any racism that exists. There's still all that going on right now, but it's just a lot easier for me to be able to go out and do what I want to do now versus back then where it would have been a problem. So that's just my quick take on it, and I really appreciate um,
Yeah.
sacrifices that our ancestors and the ones before us did to be able to make a way for this generation to be able to have opportunities that they didn't have. So, I mean, that's just my thing. But hey, listen, I was very honored and I'm very blessed that you were able to join me for today.
Yes.
It's been fun. I'm telling you,
Yeah,
I had some fun. I hope you had fun
I
too.
did. I did. Thank you so much for having me on.
For sure. And I'll tell you what, I'm hoping this is not the last time we get to hear from you because I always love returning guests. So if you are interested to do, listen, if you want to do another one, hey, we're gonna have one for you. You know what I'm saying? So I would definitely be looking forward to keeping in touch and doing some great things. I'm telling you guys, this one was great. I mean, she definitely matches her name, Pocket of Sunshine, because she would just smile. She's smiling, she laughed and she had a good time. I'm definitely gonna have her back. She is definitely gonna be.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd love to be back.
We will definitely, get more into the motivational thing and just be able to continue to encourage and pour into y'all. Um, but yeah, if you want to follow this sister on Instagram, if you're interested, if you're curious to know, uh, where she's at on Instagram. You want to go ahead and just remind you where they can find you on Instagram once again.
Yeah, it's the making of Raven. So at the making of RAV as in violin, EN.
There you go. So there you go. There it is. So if you want to follow, support what she's doing on her page, that'd be greatly appreciated because she is, man, I'm telling you, I mean, she just has a lot of stuff, a lot of positivity that she can pour into you. I mean, don't be afraid to reach out to her because that's what I did. I mean, shoot, I reached out to her, and if you want to talk to her about some stuff, you want to get in contact. Hey, don't be afraid. You can't be afraid to, reach out and and ask questions. Like she was saying, ask questions. You know, and have her help you out and everything like that. But hey, it's been a great show today. This your boy Chris Simmons coming to you with another podcast episode. And just a reminder that every podcast episodes are going to be uploaded every Monday at 12 a.m. So you can't miss it. It's going to be at the basically the start of the day, 12 a.m. Catch these episodes every Monday, 12 a.m. But like I said, this your boy Chris Simmons with another podcast. And I'll see you when I see you. Peace.